there's four metaphors that I'm most familiar with around business. And depending which metaphor you're in, very different things will occur to you to do. So some people are in the game of business creation. Some are in the game of business building. Some are in the game of business growth. And some are in the game of business expansion. And very different things, very different skills, very different activities make sense if I'm creating a business, building a business, growing a business, expanding a business. If I'm creating a business, then it doesn't exist. It can be anything. It doesn't really matter what other people are doing because I'm creating it. It is an invention. It is literally anything goes. It may or may not. What you'll find is some things, like this is a very specific example. I don't know why this is the one that's coming to mind. Oh, I know why, because I was having a conversation with somebody about it yesterday. See, if I can see that one of the things that's going to make a conversation impactful is somebody having decided I'm worth listening to before I start talking, is receptivity. And one of the things that makes people receptivity is if they feel seen, if they feel heard, if they feel like you're talking to them and not a generic prospect or a generic client. And one of the things that lets somebody know that you see them is when you acknowledge both their potential and their pain. Now, a marketer, in the traditional sense, looks at that natural dialogue, skips all of what it's for and goes, okay, let's go to the pain. That works. And it kind of does, but it's completely different. It's not organically coming out of what needs to happen. So if you're creating from scratch, there will be things that look like what's out there. But because they're built for purpose, they're evolving out of what you actually see is wanted and needed, it'll have a completely different feel to it. If I'm building a business, then I'm going to look at what actions do I need to take, and I might blueprint what it should look like. And I'm going to maybe enlist help in certain aspects of the building project, things that I'm not as skilled at. And I'm going to, possibly look for shortcuts or possibly not look for shortcuts. And there's going to be a time where I have built the business. If I'm growing a business, now I'm giving you what those metaphors do for me. They might do different things for you, but they are very different metaphors. If I'm growing a business, then it's about nurture. It's about planting seeds. It's about making sure that I give it plenty of the light of my attention and I water it. I'm taking action, but I recognize that I can't make it happen. The growth is built into the seed. So it's much more about nurturing than doing. It's much more about staying in touch with people, spending time with them, not expecting everybody to become a client the first time you see them. Seeing, oh, there's a growth cycle for clients. Like when I did research years ago, I found most people that hired me 18 months to 3 years after we first talked or they first heard me. Now, I also have people who hire me having just heard of me that day. So it's not a hard and fast rule, but that was the last time I did the math and talked to a lot of clients. That's what we found the growth cycle of the business was. So we grew the business knowing, okay, what we do today in terms of clients is unlikely to bear fruit for 18 months to 3 years. So we can't look to that for instant results. If we need instant results, we need to look for low-hanging fruit. And low-hanging fruit may not be the kind of client relationship I want to have ultimately. Low-hanging fruit may be, hey, come and do a one-off session. It may be, hey, come do a little workshop. Hey, come do this. Hey, buy this recording. Hey, something that, is an easy, quick decision to make. While I'm growing this more sustainable orchard that, will bear fruit for years to come. And if I'm in a way, expanding and creation are a little bit different, because creation has this element of starting from scratch, and expansion suggests there's already something there. What can I do to give it space? Do I breathe more life in it? Is that what expands it from the inside? Do I expand it by adding things from the outside and adding new skill sets and new offerings so that it gets bigger that way? Do I add people to it so there's more bees in the hive now producing honey? And just depending which metaphor I'm in, very different things are going to make sense to me to do. Now, the same thing, there's 4 metaphors that I hear most often around clients. There's client creation, client acquisition, client discovery, and client attraction. So if I'm in the business of client creation, then I'm not assuming there are clients out there and I need to find them. I'm assuming any human being I talk to could become a client. And the skill that I'm going to do is about getting to know people in such a way that both lets me discern if there's likely to be a good client relationship in there, but also allows me to engage with the process of showing somebody a possibility that excites them sufficiently to make them interested in working with me, to turn a human being into a client in that sense. Client acquisition, metaphorically, kind of implies that there's a certain number of clients out there and my job's to get them. And it's generally slightly competitive because there's a somewhat limited pool of people who have the interest and the resources and the time. So I need to get clever. I need to get creatively clever. I need to find ways to really mark out what I do from what other people do so that I will acquire my share of clients, and I'll recognize that, okay, some clients are going to go somewhere else, but I want to kind of get as many fish out of the pond as I can, to get my share. And that's where my niche and my differentiation and all of that starts seeming really important if the game is client acquisition. Client discovery, to be fair, I kind of made it fit the format a little bit, where what I hear people talk about is finding clients. And that's where you kind of, you look for, well, where it's got some overlap with client acquisition, because it's like, well, where do clients live? Where do they eat? What are they interested in? And let me go there, because that's where I'm most likely to find them. Oh, they're probably interested in spiritual stuff, my clients. So let me go to where spiritual stuff is talked about. Oh, they're probably also interested in success. So let me look at what success people are doing, and let me kind of meet people. And in a way, if it's just finding clients, I'm not doing a lot of selling. I'm not doing a lot of convincing. I just want to be so blatant about who I am and what I do that the clients will find me as much as I'll find them. Like, we can find each other. So in that metaphor, in that metaphoric universe, in that reality where there's clients out there, we just need to find each other. Then it's kind of like dating, right? It's not like girlfriend acquisition is really not something that anybody who values their balls would talk about, right? But there are people out there playing that game. But most people are looking to find a mate. They kind of assume there's somebody out there. They just need to find them. So they put themselves out there, and they kind of trust that if there is somebody out there and I put myself out there, we're probably going to find each other. So that's finding clients. And then client attraction. Well, okay, client attraction, I need to give off a certain vibe. I need to be in a certain place in myself. I need to create my vision board or my visualizations around how I do it. And I need to, in a way, I'm manifesting them through my energy, and depending on which system I've learned, my energy and my action. And all of these people get clients in all of these ways. But most people are unaware that they're trying to build, grow, expand, create their business within a limited metaphor of possibility. And they're trying to create, acquire, discover, attract clients within a limited sphere of availability of possibility. Now, when I look at this for myself, I recognize that none of those really fit with how I look at it now, though I have played with all of them in the last 30 years. When I look out at the world now, I look for who could I help, and do I want to? Those are my questions. So I'm in the game of being paid to help people. I'm not looking for clients. I'm looking for people to help. Now, that suits me very well right now. I really like being in that game, because what it means is I just get to know people, and I get a sense of if I could help them and how I could help them. And then I get a sense of, do I want to? And then if I do, I talk to them about it. And some of them become clients. Sometimes because of, I've been around 30 plus years. People have heard of me. They do know about me. Nice things are said about me in the world. So, people will come and they'll go, I want to hire you. That doesn't make me salivate anymore. That used to make me salivate. I got a live one on the wire, right? I was fishing for clients. Like I was client hunting. I was in client acquisition, right? That was where I started. But now, somebody they say, I want to be a client. I'm like, why? That's a real question. Why do you want to become a client? What is it you think you can get from our time together? What is it you think will come from our client together? Is that something I think I can help you with, or will come from our time together? In other words, can I actually help you, and do I actually want to? I'm not saying that's the right answer. I'm just noticing, oh, that's what it looks like to me right now.